Today we're pulling out clamps, lots of clamps. Gonna square up the table, gonna sand the table. The cabinet guys have the paint booth full, so hopefully they get out of there so I can spray finish this. I ordered the legs from Carolina Leg Company. They should be here today. So either way, we're gonna get this out of clamps, we're gonna square it up, sand it, stain it, spray it, and hopefully the legs come in today and we can get the base done. Good day. Have a good day. Good day, Mike. Alright, welcome back. First thing we're going to do is square up the edge here. Use a carpenter square. I square off a center line in my table, so I know everything's square with the table, not just with the edge that you don't know is perfect right now. Alright, I like to just kind of dress up the edges here, just to make sure everything's good. Usually you're going to see some sort of variant on the end grain, so I like to get some sawdust. That's pretty thick sawdust. You want to really just get sanding dust, but this is just what I came up with. Obviously the same species. You're going to mix it up where it's not runny, but it's not dusty, if that makes any sense. Pretty good little trick. I had some little bit of gaps here. Rub it in now, so by the time you're done sanding, it'll be dry and it's ready to sand it. I explain this in the end of the video why I'm doing this right now. What I didn't mention here, I had to shut the cameras off and take them off site, and then they're out of storage, so I had to format. Anyways, what you didn't see is the bottom side of the table. I sanded it all. I took a round router bit and I rounded over that edge, so when someone puts their hand under there, it's not sharp. And then around that top edge or on the outside, I usually just stain that. I don't worry about staining the underside of the table. I just stain that strip going around the bottom, which you'll see when I'm in the paint booth, but I wanted to just kind of fill you in. All right, so it's sanding time. I've said it once. I'll say it again. I'll say it every time. The gym sander is awesome. This had, this is poplar wood. It had some ridges in it. It just, I don't know. It wasn't quite flat. Started with 80 grit. I worked my way up all the way to 400. I'm not going to show all of it because it's extremely boring. But this sander just does an outstanding job of it. I love it. I mean, it's one of my favorite tools I own. So that's what I'm doing here. Time to finish. I use this Mohawk wiping stain. Once you start using a good professional stain, you'll never go back to any sort of Minwax or anything. This stuff is like water. It goes so far and it dries almost immediately. So I usually try to just get a good thick base coat throughout. Not really worried about how I wipe it. Just making sure everything's covered. And then I go back with kind of a dry cloth and go from end to end. Try not to make the turn like I do here. You want to go off the table and then back on. That way you don't get some weird turn mark. Alright, what I didn't show here is I always spray the top with this vinyl sealer first. That way when I flip it over, it lessens the chance of something getting scratched or dented. Same product, Mohawk is what I use, called Easy Vinyl Sealer. Right out of the can, there's no need to mix with anything else. I lay it on thick. So now that the top is done, I've got it flipped over. I'm going to hit the outside of the bottom. And everything I spray, I spray it thick. So make sure you put plenty on there and then give it about 20-30 minutes to dry. All right, so now I wait about 30 minutes. It's dry. I carry tons of these little Festool sanding boxes around in all different grits. Grab some 320 or even 400, and you want to just smooth it out. Use your hand to kind of feel where you need to be sanding. You'll feel it. And on a stained piece, do not sand too hard. You'll take that stain off, and then you got to sand it all the way back down. So it's just literally light scuff. Now we mix up some conversion varnish. You have to mix it with a hardener. All the directions are on the box. Write it on your wall so you don't have to read that box every time, or the bucket every time. Once you get in the habit of using it, you'll be fine. And then I'm doing the same thing here. Since I've already sprayed the top, I'm just scuffing it with a 320 and then rubbing my hand over all the spots just to make sure I got all those little nubs off, is what I call them. It's a rough surface. Blow her down, make sure you get all the dust. And the beautiful thing is, even if you don't get all that dust, it'll all kind of melt back together once you put your top coat. Alright, time to spray some finish. You'll see my pattern, I overlap 50%. That way I don't mix anything, and just like anything else I finish, I lay this stuff on super thick. I want it to pretty much puddle as I'm going. Once you spray this on, once it's dry, you can spray another coat within 4 hours. Just lightly scuff, another 320. I usually use my orbital sander. I scuff it all 320 and then I spray it again. So it's just something you're going to have to get used to. The more you spray, the better you're going to get. There's still, honestly, there's no such thing as a perfect finish in my opinion. They just get better as you go along. I had a minor procedure done this morning. It's Friday, so I'm laid up for 2 days. So I'm going to make this a 3-part series. This part was basically cutting the table, getting it out of clamps, cutting it square, sanding, and finishing. And then the third part of the series will be the base and putting it together. So I hope you enjoyed. Wish me luck for 2 days sitting here. Thank you. Subscribe, like, share. Can you share on YouTube?